Well, I suppose philosophically speaking, we've got this romantic idea that we've stolen from the French, their concept of terroir, that the landscape has its own personality. All those complexities, distinctive elements within the landscape, the soil structure, the shape of the hill, the predominant rainfall patterns, the way the wind moves through a landscape, all of those complex natural elements will have an expression in aroma and texture and flavour in the grapes that are grown in those landscapes. So as winemakers, we want to be those who capture the essence of the landscape rather than impose upon the landscape what we think it should be saying.
Canberra's terroir, I think it revolves around the long, sort of mild autumn, and that gives you a nice slow ripening time for the grapes, and they're able to develop their flavour and character. So I think that's the unique aspect of Canberra's terroir.
When I drive between here and Lake George, there's a lot more granite towards Lake George, and then you arrive to that lake, it's dry most of the time, it's flat. But I find that side a lot more spiritual, a lot more kind of attractive. It's actually beautiful over there.
Canberra has more sunshine than any other capital except Perth. We have this wonderful sea breeze we call Bateman's breath, which comes in summer, so we have cool evenings followed by warm, hot, dry days. And it's a unique climate that you see very rarely in anywhere else in Australia. And when you look at the world, to have that differentiation between cold nights and warm, hot, dry days is what the great wine growing regions of the world are.
Along and west of the Barton Highway is a lot of granite country, and granite is probably the most influential in determining the profile of wines from Wallaroo and Hall and generally through Murrumbateman. And there's more, probably you could say, tension to those wines, and there's something compelling that's hard to describe, but in the Yass Valley you tend to have these fairly deep red loams, and so you have beautifully structured wines generally coming off vineyards in that area. It's a tiny bit warmer out there. Then further east you've got all that shaly country, so generally very hard ground. The wines do it tough, and you tend to have quite a muscular, meaty profile to the wine. And the further east you go towards the Lake George escarpment, it gets cooler, and the wines get a little bit finer in profile again.
I love Shiraz from cool climate. I like those kind of peppery notes, because of that continental aspect of the region. We got a fairly slow ripening of the Shiraz grapes, so retain again a lot of acidity. We can, in a way, mature the tannins, all the polyphenol very slowly, and not have those kind of big increase of sugar. Where it's very hot, the sugar level goes up, and the tannins don't get ripe. I find here interesting in the fact that it's closer to what I know from France, where you can mature the tannins for much longer.
I honestly think that we will be seeing a lot more of our district's wines being showcased overseas and showing the Germans what we've got.
And I think it's more what's happening in the Canberra region with the winemakers here that more change the wine and food scene in Canberra itself.
I just think we're kind of at the beginning of coming to understand the potential for this region, and sort of the products that we're making here, the food that we're growing, the wines that we're making, the olive oil that we've got now, the truffles that people are growing. People have got this curiosity about what can this region produce. When we take the time to listen to our environment, to listen to the heartbeat of the landscape, if you like, and try and capture that and express that through all these different means, through fibres, through food, through wine, through culture, through community. It's the beginning of something which is just going to grow and become more and more meaningful to us and celebrated, I think. It's an exciting time to be living in the Canberra region.